Hey everyone, it's Justin here, America's Honest Tax Accountant from Number Crunch Nerds. In this video, we're going to be tying out the personal tax planning template to TurboTax Home Business 2025 for the following items. Number 1, taxable income. Number 2, total tax. And number 3, the Enhanced Senior Deduction. Right, so we're in the personal tax planning template and we're going to be working right here in the 2025 column. Over here we have TurboTax Home Business for 2025 that was just released. Not all of the modules for 2025 are complete yet in the software, but we will continue to test the personal tax planning template against TurboTax as Intuit continues to roll those modules out, and my expectation on the timing of that is going to be late 2025, early 2026. So starting right here in the personal tax planning template ordinary income section, we have the W-2 wages combined for both spouses in this example of $150,000. Right here on line 1A of the 1040, there's our W-2 total $150,000. Coming down here to the interest income lines, I have $5,500 plus $800. That is a grand total of $6,300. And right here on line 2B of the 1040 taxable interest, there is our $6,300. Next item is going to be dividends. Now remember that non-qualified dividends go into the ordinary income section, and that will be handled within the personal tax planning template by using the dividend entry tab. Skipping down here for a moment to the long-term capital gain section, there is our qualified dividends. In this example, we're going to have $11,000 of qualified dividends, and that's going to agree to the 1040 right over here, line 3A. Now coming back over here to the personal tax planning template, remember that the sum of the qualified dividends plus the non-qualified dividends right here, in this case, is going to be $23,000. That $23,000 is what we will see on line 3B of the 1040, ordinary dividends, $23,000. Okay, coming down here to the long-term capital gain section, again, we do have capital gain distributions in this example of $2,000. There's the $2,000 on line 7A of the 1040. And now scrolling down a little bit on the personal tax planning template, there is our AGI or adjusted gross income row, in this case $181,300. And back over here on the 1040 line 11A, there is our adjusted gross income $181,300. Okay, now scrolling down a little bit here in TurboTax, the next item is going to be on line 12E, $34,700 of standard deduction. Now scrolling down a little bit further inside the personal tax planning template, we are pulling that standard deduction of $34,700. That is going to be the amount of regular standard deduction plus the additional standard deduction for those folks that are age 65 or older. In this example, we're going to have 2 people over the age of 65. Then coming right down here, this is the first of the OBA deductions that we are going to be testing the personal tax planning template for against TurboTax. This is the Enhanced Senior Deduction put in place under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. It is up to $6,000 per person age 65 or older, and that item is in addition to the regular additional amount that comes with the standard deduction for folks age 65 or older. In this case, our calculator within the personal tax planning template has determined the amount for this couple to be $8,244. Right over here on the 1040, we have a brand new line 13B, additional deductions from Schedule 1A. This Schedule 1-A is the schedule for all of the OBA deductions. Right now in this tax return, as the 1040 is set up, the only item that's included is the senior deduction so far. And you can see that the grand total amount over here on 13B is $8,244. Coming up in just a few minutes in this video, we will be going to Schedule 1-A and checking the calculation of the senior deduction against the personal tax planning template. But before we get there, let's go down here to line 15. This is our taxable income, in this case $138,356. Back over here on the personal tax planning template, there's our taxable income $138,356. Now coming back over here to the 1040, line 16, your tax $19,356 in this example. Remember that line 16 contains ordinary income tax plus any tax on long-term capital gain. So if we go back here to the personal tax planning template and we scroll down, many of you will remember that previously we had to just sum up all of these ordinary tax items, and we also had to come down here and include in the sum this tax on long-term capital gain, and it was the total of those amounts that equals the 19,356, which agrees to the 1040 right over here. However, to make things simpler to see, we have added a new Form 1040 line 16 tax tie-out row right here in the personal tax planning template. This row will be an easy check to make sure that you are on track and agreeing with line 16 on the 1040. I have just put a 5-minute template update video into the fast track section of the personal tax planning template members area, and that quick video will go over how you add this line right here to the personal tax planning template. All right, now back over here on the 1040, if we scroll down, the total tax line is always the one we want to agree to. In this case, there are no other items, so we still have 19,356 right here. And if we go back over to the personal tax planning template and we continue to scroll down all the way to where the total tax is right here, you can see total tax, which is line 24 in the 1040, is 19,356. Okay, now as mentioned moments ago, we are going to go over here to the $6,000 senior deduction calculator. Okay, so we are here in the calculator. Remember that for single filers, the amount of the senior deduction will be determined in this first section. And then if I go down here and scroll over to the right, you can see that the calculation for married filing joint for the 4 years for which the enhanced senior deduction is applicable in the law. Now, to make sure we are on the right track with this calculation, let's go back over here to TurboTax, and we're going to click on Schedule 1A right here, Additional Deductions. As I mentioned before, all of the major OBA provisions are going to go onto this schedule. Now, Part 1 right down here does start with MAGI. You can see that amount on the 1040 is $181,300. That agrees to the personal tax planning template right over here for 2025. I do have a video in the members area going over what all of these various adjustments are right here to get to MAGI. In this particular case, we don't have any, and my expectation is that for most individuals, you will not have any of these modifications as they are relatively uncommon. However, if you have foreign source income, in other words, income earned outside of the United States, you may want to watch that video to see if any of these adjustments will be applicable to you. Okay, then to get to the senior deduction, we have to scroll all the way to the bottom, Part 5 right here. Here's the enhanced deduction for seniors. You can see it starts with our MAGI. It subtracts off the threshold of $150,000 for married filing joint, resulting in an amount of MAGI which is in excess of the threshold of $31,300. You can see over here in the personal tax planning template, we have the same calculation. There is the $31,300. Okay, then you can see over here on the 1040 line 34, there is the phase out per person of the enhanced senior deduction. And when we subtract that phase out from $6,000, which is the maximum per person, the result is $4,122. That $4,122 is the amount of enhanced senior deduction available per person who is age 65 or older. In this particular 1040, we have 2 people over the age of 65, so the total enhanced deduction for seniors is $8,244. And coming back over here to the personal tax planning template, there is our $8,244. And if we go back over here to the personal tax planning template main tab, this is the row where the enhanced senior deduction will be pulled forward and included in the grand total calculation. By the way, if you are new to the personal tax planning template and video training program and would like to see the template in action, then make sure to check out the additional individual income tax planning training videos that you can find in the links in the YouTube description below this video.